The day my sister told me she was marrying my fiancé, I smiled and ordered champagne. Not the cheap stuff either, Dom Perignon rose gold, because nothing says congratulations on your betrayal quite like $1,000 bottle of spite. I'm Oakley, and I've spent 29 years being the family disappointment. The quiet one, the steady one, the one who would never amount to much, according to my mother Lucille's favorite refrain. We need to talk. Lacey had texted earlier that morning. Mom's house. Important. I knew what was coming, had known for months actually. But I drove to our mother's McMansion anyway, wearing my favorite navy blazer, like armor. They were waiting in the formal living room. Lacey perched on the white leather sofa, Mother standing by the fireplace, both wearing identical expressions of fake concern. Darling, my mother started, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. We have something to tell you, and we want you to know we're here for you. I sat down, crossed my legs, and waited. Roman and I are in love, Lacey blurted out, twisting her fingers together. We've been seeing each other, and he proposed last night. The diamond on her finger could have paid off a small mortgage. My ex-fiancé never did believe in subtlety. How long? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. A few months, Lacey lied. I knew it had been closer to 8. He wasn't happy, sweetie, my mother chimed in. You have to understand, when two people are meant to be together. So, you're saying I wasn't woman enough to keep him? I raised an eyebrow. Well, Mother exchanged glances with Lacey. You were always so focused on your career. Roman needs someone who can support his vision. Be a proper wife. That's when I ordered the champagne. Had it delivered right there to the house. The delivery guy looked confused when I tipped him $100, but I wanted witnesses. Wanted people to remember how calm I was when it all went down. What are you doing? Lacey asked as I popped the cork. Celebrating, I said, pouring 3 glasses. To new beginnings? Oakley, you're taking this surprisingly well, Mother said suspiciously. I handed them each a glass. Why wouldn't I be? Roman deserves to be happy. You've all made that very clear. We thought you'd be upset, Lacey admitted, sipping the champagne nervously. Life's full of surprises, isn't it? I smiled, thinking of the stack of documents in my safe at home. Speaking of which, when's the wedding? 2 weeks, Lacey beamed, relief flooding her face. We're having it at the plaza. You'll come, won't you? Maybe even be a bridesmaid? I took a long sip of champagne, savoring the moment. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Mother relaxed visibly, probably already planning how to spin this to her country club friends. You know, darling, this really is for the best. Roman needs someone who understands his ambitions, and you are always more suited to a quieter life. You're absolutely right, Mother. I stood up, smoothing my blazer. Some of us are meant for the spotlight. Others prefer to work behind the scenes. Exactly. Lacey jumped up to hug me. I knew you'd understand. You're the best sister ever. I hugged her back, feeling the expensive fabric of her dress. Congratulations, really. I hope you get everything you deserve. I left them celebrating, drove straight home to my apartment in the city. My hands didn't shake until I was inside my private elevator, not from grief, from anticipation. In my home office, I entered the code to my safe. Inside lay months of preparation, contracts, bank statements, recordings, and a USB drive containing enough evidence to destroy an empire. My phone buzzed, a text from Roman. Can we talk? I never meant to hurt you. I typed back, nothing to talk about. Be happy with Lacey. Another buzz. You're amazing, oh. I always said you were the best of them. I smiled at my phone, thinking of the documents he'd signed just last week, thinking he was buying out my share of our joint ventures. Poor Roman, always so focused on the big picture that he missed the fine print. Thanks, Roman, I replied. Good luck with everything. I closed my safe and walked to my floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out over the city. Mother always said I was too quiet, too passive. She never understood that silence could be a weapon, that patience could be a plan. The champagne had been petty, I'll admit, but sometimes a girl needs to celebrate the moment her trap starts to spring. 1 year earlier, I sat in my cousin Naomi's kitchen, watching her pour 2 glasses of wine. It was the night everything changed, the night I stopped being the good daughter. You're sure about what you heard? Naomi asked, sliding a glass toward me. Crystal clear. I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Roman's voice filled the room, followed by my mother's unmistakable tone. The Brooks family legacy needs someone, stronger, Mother was saying. Oakley's sweet, but Lacey has always been more suited to the spotlight, don't you think? I've been thinking the same thing, Roman replied smoothly. Oakley's great with numbers, but she lacks that killer instinct, the drive to really make it big. Exactly. And you need someone who can match your ambitions. Someone like, I stopped the recording. Naomi's face had turned stormy. Those manipulative little. She cut herself off. How long have you been recording them? 3 months. I took a sip of wine. Ever since I caught Roman texting Lacey at midnight. He said it was about a charity event. And you're still wearing his ring because I twisted the diamond engagement ring. Because I need time to protect myself. Good girl. Naomi pulled out her phone. I'm calling Damien. He's the best lawyer I know, and more importantly, he hates people like Roman. Damien arrived 40 minutes later, briefcase in hand, looking every bit the high-powered attorney in his tailored suit. He listened to the recording without comment. First things first, he said, pulling out a legal pad. We need to separate your assets. How much has Roman invested in your joint ventures? Nothing. I smiled thinly. He thinks he has, but I've been careful. Every investment was made with my money, through my companies. He just signed the papers. Damien's eyebrows shot up. Smart, but we need to make it airtight, create some shell companies, move your assets around, make it impossible for him to claim any ownership. I want more than protection, I said quietly. I want everything. Now you're talking? Naomi grinned. Damien leaned forward. Tell me what you need. Over the next few hours, we crafted a plan, shell companies, irrevocable trusts, carefully worded contracts, a maze of legal protection that would become a trap. The key, Damien explained, is to let him think he's winning. Men like Roman, they're so convinced of their own brilliance that they never read the fine print. I know someone else who might help, I said. Jason Meyer. Roman screwed him over in a tech venture last year. The software developer? Damien nodded. Good thinking. We'll need inside help. My phone buzzed. A text from Roman. Working late. Don't wait up. I showed it to Naomi, who checked her social media. Lacey just checked in at that new rooftop bar downtown. What a coincidence, I said dryly. You okay? Naomi touched my arm. I'm tired of being okay. I stood up, walking to her window. I'm tired of being the understanding one, the reasonable one, the one who gets stepped on because she's too nice to push back. Then don't be, Damien said simply. Be smarter, be patient. Let them think you're still that person while you build your case. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Lacey. Drinks tomorrow? Need to talk about your wedding. The audacity, Naomi muttered. I typed back, can't wait, let's do lunch instead? Perfect timing, Damien said. I'll have the first set of papers ready by morning. We'll need documentation of every interaction. I'll help, Naomi offered. I can keep track of their meetings, their posts, everything. I hugged them both. Thank you. I know this isn't exactly ethical. Ethics? Damien snorted. They're planning to humiliate you publicly, steal your investments, and probably paint you as the villain in their love story. Ethics left the building a long time ago. Later that night, I sat in my home office scrolling through months of texts between Roman and Lacey. The flirtation was obvious now that I knew to look for it. The late night messages, the inside jokes, the subtle digs at me. You deserve better than settling, Lacey had written to him. Sometimes I think you know me better than she does, he replied. I forwarded everything to Damien, then locked my phone. Outside, the city glittered like broken glass, beautiful and sharp. Mother always said I was too soft for this world, too willing to bend, but some things, when bent too far, don't break. They snap back, and I was done bending. My phone lit up one last time. Roman again. Miss you. Can't wait to come home. I replied with a heart emoji, then silenced my phone. Let him think I was waiting, worried, wondering. Let them all think I was still the quiet, competent daughter who would never cause a scene. They'd learn soon enough. Silence could be deadly. Baby, this could be huge, Roman said, spreading documents across our dining table. A tech startup ready for acquisition. They just need capital, and we could triple our investment in 6 months. I leaned forward, examining the papers with what I hoped was wide-eyed interest. It sounds amazing. But can we afford it? That's the thing. He grinned, reaching for my hand. If we use some of your trust fund money? Of course, I said quickly. Whatever you need. Behind his back, Jason Meyer caught my eye and gave a subtle nod. We'd staged this meeting perfectly, Jason playing the role of Roman's old friend with a hot investment tip. You're sure about this? Roman asked Jason. It's a gold mine waiting to happen, Jason replied smoothly. But we need to move fast. Other investors are circling. The startup was actually one of my shell companies, staffed with temporary employees and backed by carefully crafted financial records. Roman never bothered to verify anything beyond the surface. I'll transfer the money tomorrow, I promised, squeezing Roman's hand. Later that week, I met Jason at a quiet bar downtown. How's our investor doing? Strutting around like he discovered electricity. Jason smirked. He's already bragging to his golf buddies about his brilliant business acumen. Perfect. I slid him an envelope. Your consultation fee, as agreed. You know, Jason said, pocketing the envelope, when you first approached me about this, I thought you were crazy. But watching Roman walk into his own trap, it's better than therapy. Speaking of traps, I checked my phone. Lacey just posted another casual photo at his office, third time this week. They're not exactly subtle, are they? They don't think they need to be. I showed him the latest text from my sister. Lunch tomorrow? Need your opinion on some things. Jason whistled low. The nerve of these people? Oh, it gets better. I pulled up my mother's recent message. Darling, we should discuss your prenup. Roman's making such wonderful investments, we need to protect everyone's interests. Your mother's a piece of work. She's about to be a masterpiece. I finished my drink. How's the employee exodus going? Right on schedule. Key people leaving Roman's legitimate companies citing management issues. His reputation's getting shaky in all the right circles. My phone buzzed. Roman again. Big meeting tomorrow. Might need to access more of your investment account. He's getting greedy, Jason observed. Let him. I typed back a quick reply. Whatever you need, honey. I trust you completely. The next day, I met Lacey for lunch at her favorite overpriced cafe. She was wearing a new designer dress, probably bought with Roman's credit card. You seem different lately, she said, studying me over her salad. More relaxed? Do I? I stirred my coffee. I guess I'm just excited about the wedding. Roman's been making such amazing business moves. He's brilliant that way, she agreed quickly. Too quickly. You're so lucky to have him. I know exactly how lucky I am. I smiled. Hey, would you help me pick out lingerie for the honeymoon next week? I want his jaw to drop. Lacey choked slightly on her water. Next week? I have a photo shoot. Please? You've always had better taste than me. Roman says so all the time. The flash of guilt across her face was almost too subtle to catch. Almost. That evening, I met with Damien to sign the final papers. Everything's in place, he confirmed. The moment Roman breaches trust by, say, getting engaged to someone else, all assets revert to you. The companies, the investments, everything. And the timing? Perfect. The startup will show signs of trouble right when you need it to. Jason's done an excellent job creating a paper trail. I signed the last document with a flourish. Now we wait. You know, Damien said, most people in your position would have confronted them by now. Made a scene. Most people don't understand the value of patience. I checked my phone. Another text from Roman canceling dinner. Another Instagram post from Lacey at his favorite restaurant. They're getting bolder, Damien observed. Good. I stood up, gathering my things. The bolder they get, the harder they'll fall. Walking home, I passed a billboard advertising engagement rings. For the perfect moment, it proclaimed in glittering letters. My phone buzzed one last time. Mother. Dinner tomorrow night? Roman has exciting news about the business. I typed back, can't wait to hear everything. The perfect moment was coming. Not with a bang or a scream, but with signatures on dotted lines and carefully laid trails of breadcrumbs. They thought they were writing a love story. They didn't realize they were signing their own ending. The engagement party was a masterclass in excess. Mother had transformed her backyard into a fairy tale wonderland, complete with crystal chandeliers hanging from tree branches and champagne fountains that probably cost more than most people's rent. I wore red, not the angry, obvious kind of red, a deep, luxurious burgundy that made me look expensive and dangerous. Naomi whistled when she saw me. Damn, cousin, you clean up nice. Had to dress for the occasion, I said, adjusting my diamond earrings, a gift from Roman last Christmas. Can't let the happy couple outshine everyone. We watched as Lacey twirled for the photographers, her white designer dress catching the light. Roman stood nearby, one hand possessively on her waist, playing the role of devoted fiancé perfectly. Oakley! Mother's voice carried across the garden. Darling, come say hello to everyone. I plastered on my best society smile and made my way through the crowd. The whispers followed me like perfume. That's the ex-fiancé. Can you believe she showed up? Poor thing, she must be devastated. Mother grabbed my arm, her nails digging in slightly. Everyone's been asking about you. I've been telling them how wonderfully you're handling everything. Have you? I sipped my champagne. How generous of you. Oakley, she hissed, don't start. This is Lacey's moment. When isn't it? Before she could respond, Roman appeared at my elbow. Can we talk? I followed him to a quiet corner of the garden. He looked uncomfortable in his expensive suit, tugging at his collar. You didn't have to come, he said softly. And miss all this? I gestured at the party. It's like a fairy tale, Roman. The handsome prince, the beautiful princess, the disposable first draft. It wasn't like that. We didn't plan. Please, I cut him off. Spare me the explanations. I'm here to celebrate, remember? You're taking this too well, he frowned. It's not like you. No? I smiled. Maybe you never knew what I was like. A commotion drew our attention. Lacey was opening presents, squealing over each designer item. Mother beamed proudly beside her. Your mother's thrilled, Roman observed. She always thought we'd make a better match, Lacey and I. Mother's usually wrong about important things. I touched his arm. But she was right about one thing. You deserve exactly what you're getting. He looked uncertain for a moment, but Lacey called him over before he could respond. I watched them pose for more photos, their smiles bright and brittle. You okay? Naomi appeared at my side with fresh drinks. Never better. I nodded toward a group of Roman's business associates. Watch this. I approached them, champagne in hand. George, Maria, how's the tech sector treating you? Oakley. George looked nervous. We were just discussing, Roman's new ventures? I smiled innocently. Fascinating stuff. Have you seen the latest projections? Maria shifted uncomfortably. Actually, we've been hearing some concerning rumors. Oh? I widened my eyes. About the startup acquisition? I'm sure it's nothing. Roman always knows what he's doing with other people's money. I left them whispering urgently among themselves. Naomi caught up with me, trying not to laugh. That was evil. That was just the appetizer. Lacey cornered me by the dessert table, her perfect makeup slightly smeared from crying over gifts. I can't believe you came. You're the best sister ever. Wouldn't miss it. I hugged her carefully. Nice ring, by the way. Bigger than mine was. Oh, she flushed. Roman said he wanted something special. It's perfect for you. I touched the massive diamond. Just make sure you read the insurance policy carefully. Sometimes things that look solid aren't what they seem. Her smile faltered slightly. Before she could respond, Mother clinked her glass for attention. A toast, she announced, to the perfect couple. Roman, you've always been like a son to me, and now it's finally official. The crowd cheered. I raised my glass with the rest, catching Roman's eye across the garden. He looked away first. As the party wound down, I made my way to the exit. Mother intercepted me. Thank you for not making a scene, she said. I know this must be difficult. Nothing's difficult when you understand your role, I replied. You taught me that, remember? Always know your place? She frowned. Oakley. Good night, Mother. Lovely party. At the gate, I turned back one last time. Roman was watching me, his arm around Lacey, looking faintly troubled. You know everything you own is mine, right? I called out softly, just loud enough for him to hear. The confusion on his face was worth every second of waiting. In my car, I texted Damien, time to start phase 2. His reply came instantly. Papers are ready. Let the games begin. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday. I was having coffee at my favorite cafe when Lacey burst in, mascara streaking down her face. "What did you do?" she demanded, slamming her designer purse on my table. "The credit cards aren't working." I stirred my latte calmly. "Which cards?" "All of them. Roman's cards, the joint account, everything." She collapsed into the chair opposite me. "We were at the bridal boutique and they declined the payment for my dress. It was humiliating." "How awful," I said, taking a sip. "Have you called the bank?" "They said something about accounts being frozen, pending investigation." She leaned forward. "This has something to do with you, doesn't it?" "Why would I have anything to do with Roman's finances?" "Because you're jealous. You can't stand that he chose me instead of—" "Careful!" I cut her off. "You're making a scene. People are staring." She glanced around, suddenly aware of the other customers watching. Lacey had always hated being the wrong kind of spectacle. My phone buzzed. "Roman calling." I let it go to voicemail. "He's been trying to reach you all morning," Lacey said. "I've been busy." I checked my watch. "In fact, I have a meeting right now. Good luck with the dress situation." I was halfway to the door when she called out, "Mother wants to see you tonight." "I'm sure she does." The meeting was with Jason and Damien at the lawyer's office. Jason pulled up a series of spreadsheets on his laptop. "It's happening faster than we expected," he reported. "Roman's companies are hemorrhaging clients. The startup stock is tanking. His investors are panicking." "What about the employee exodus?" I asked. "3 more executives resigned this morning. The press is starting to notice." Damien handed me a stack of papers. "These just came in. Roman's trying to access emergency funds, but everything's locked down tight." My phone buzzed again. Mother this time. I answered on speaker. "What have you done?" she demanded without preamble. "Hello to you too, Mother." "Don't play games with me." Roman's beside himself. Something about contracts and missing signatures. "Sounds serious," I said. "Maybe he should have read the fine print." "This is childish, Oakley. If you're trying to punish them—" "Punish them?" I laughed. "Why would I do that? I'm celebrating their happiness, remember?" "Fix this," she hissed, "or I'll—" "You'll what?" I cut her off. "Tell everyone what a disappointment I am? How I'm not good enough? Save your breath, Mother. You've been saying that my whole life." I hung up. Jason whistled low. "That felt good," he said. "It did." I turned to Damien. "Are we ready for the next phase?" He nodded, pulling out another file. "The cease and desist orders are prepared, and the forensic accountants have found some interesting irregularities in Roman's old business dealings." "Anonymous tip to the financial press?" "Already done." Jason grinned. "Should hit the news cycle tomorrow morning." My phone lit up with texts from Roman. "We need to talk. Please answer your phone." This isn't funny anymore. "What did you do to my accounts?" I showed them to Damien, who smirked. "Should I send him the paperwork now?" "Not yet. Let him sweat a little longer." That evening, I met Naomi for dinner. She had news from her social circle. "Lacey's bridesmaids are jumping ship," she reported gleefully. "Apparently she couldn't pay for their dresses, and now they're questioning her judgment in this whole situation." "How tragic." "Oh, and Roman's country club membership got suspended. Something about bounced checks." My phone buzzed again. Lacey had posted on Instagram, "Sometimes life tests your strength, but true love conquers all. Blessed drag wedding planning." The comments were brutal. "Didn't you steal your sister's fiancé?" "Heard Romans broke Lowell." "Karma's real." "Should we feel bad?" Naomi asked, reading over my shoulder. "Do they feel bad?" "Point taken." Just then, Roman himself stormed into the restaurant. He looked disheveled, his usual polished appearance cracking at the edges. "We need to talk," he demanded. "Now?" I dabbed my lips with the napkin. "I'm having dinner." "The startup's tanking. My investors are pulling out. What did you do?" "Sounds like bad luck," I said. "Markets can be so unpredictable." "This isn't a game, Oakley." "No," I agreed, standing up. "It's not. Games are fun. This is business." I gathered my purse. "Oh, and Roman, check your email. Damien's sending you some interesting documents." I left him standing there, his world crumbling, piece by carefully orchestrated piece. Outside, the evening news ticker on a building displayed the headline, "Tech Entrepreneur Under Investigation, Fraud Allegations Surface." Perfect timing. The Plaza Hotel canceled Lacey's dream wedding on a rainy Thursday morning. I watched it unfold through a series of increasingly hysterical social media posts. This can't be happening. Lacey, 9:15 a.m. Someone please tell me this is a mistake. Lacey, 9:45 a.m. Who would do this to us? Lacey, 10:30 m. Mother showed up at my office unannounced around noon. She'd aged 10 years in the past week, her perfect blonde highlights now showing dark roots. Enough, she said, closing my office door. Name your price. I looked up from my computer. For what? To stop this vendetta, whatever you want, money, property, public apology, just tell me. Sit down, Mother. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Let's talk about karma. Karma? She scoffed. This isn't karma. This is calculated destruction. Like the kind you've been inflicting on me my entire life? I pulled out my phone, played a recording. Oakley's always been the weak one. Mother's voice filled the room. Thank God Lacey has the spine to take what she wants. Her face went pale. Where did you get that? I have years of recordings, Mother. Every backhanded compliment, every manipulation, every time you pitted us against each other. You wouldn't dare. I already have. I turned my monitor to show her the blog post going viral. Anonymous source reveals toxic family dynamics behind tech scandal. Want to read the comments? Her hands shook as she reached for her phone. This will destroy us. No, I corrected. This will expose you. There's a difference. Your sister's wedding is canceled, just like mine was supposed to be. I stood up. But don't worry, I'm sure Roman will do the right thing. He's good at that, isn't he? As if on cue, my phone buzzed with breaking news. Ortiz Tech CEO steps down amid fraud investigation. Mother's phone rang. Lacey, probably. She answered on speaker. Mom! Lacey was sobbing. Roman's gone. He's not answering his phone, and his office is empty. And breathe, darling, Mother said. Where are you? At his apartment. Everything's gone. There's just a note saying he's sorry, and he'll fix this somehow, and she hiccuped. The ring is gone, too. I couldn't help but laugh. Mother shot me a venomous look. Stay there, she told Lacey. I'm coming. She turned to me. Are you happy now? Almost. I pressed a button on my desk phone. Send them in, please. Damien walked in with 2 police officers. Mrs. Brooks, one officer said, we have some questions about your involvement in certain financial transactions. Mother's face went from pale to gray. What transactions? The ones where you helped Roman move money through offshore accounts, Damien supplied helpfully. Very illegal, by the way. I never, she started. We have the paperwork, Damien cut in. All signed by you. Remember those documents you didn't bother reading last month? The ones about Lacey's trust fund? Mother sank into the chair. You set us up. No, I corrected. I just gave you enough rope to hang yourselves. The officers stepped forward. Ma'am, we'll need you to come with us. As they led her out, my phone lit up with messages from Naomi. Holy shit, Roman just tried to board a private jet. Police got him at the airport. Lacey's having a meltdown on Instagram Live, I texted back. Watch the news in an hour. Right on schedule, the story broke across all major networks. Tech empire collapse, CEO arrested, family implicated in fraud scheme. Jason appeared in my doorway, grinning. Want to see something beautiful? He held up his tablet. The startup company's stock had flatlined. Roman's legitimate companies were declaring bankruptcy, and there in my investment accounts, every dollar I'd ever put in was safely returned, with interest. You know what the best part is? Jason said. They're all blaming each other. Roman's telling police it was your mother's idea. Your mother's claiming Lacey masterminded it. And Lacey, well, she's telling anyone who'll listen that she's the real victim. Perfect. I checked my watch. Time for phase 3? Already in motion. The tabloids are fighting over who gets the exclusive tell-all. I picked up my coat. Then my work here is done. Where are you going? To have a drink with my cousin. We're celebrating. Outside, reporters were gathering at the building entrance. I slipped out the back, texting Naomi to meet me at our usual spot. The rain had stopped, leaving the city streets gleaming like new money. Somewhere across town, my sister was learning what it felt like to lose everything. My mother was explaining herself to federal agents. And Roman was finally facing the consequences of his actions. They'd wanted a fairy tale. Instead, they got a lesson in karma. And I got my revenge served exactly the way I liked it, cold, calculated, and completely justified. He did what? I stared at Damien across his desk, holding the forged document Roman's lawyers had just submitted to the court. Tried to frame you for embezzlement, Damien confirmed, looking more amused than concerned. Claims you were the mastermind behind everything, using his companies as fronts for money laundering. Bold strategy for a man in custody. Desperate men make desperate choices. He pulled out another folder. Fortunately, we planned for this. The door opened and Jason walked in with a USB drive. Got the security footage you asked for. Every meeting Roman had with your mother, time-stamped and backed up. And the bank records? All here. He plugged in the drive. Every transaction, every signature, every sketchy deal he made while thinking he was untouchable. My phone buzzed. A text from Naomi. Heads up. Layla Sherman from the Daily Post is sniffing around. Says Roman gave her a juicy story about you. Layla Sherman, the tabloid journalist who'd made a career out of destroying reputations. I showed the text to Damien. Perfect timing, he said. Should we show her what a real story looks like? I nodded. Set up the meeting. 2 hours later, I sat across from Layla in a private room at the Four Seasons. She looked exactly like her byline photo, sharp eyes, sharper smile, and the hungry look of someone who lived for scandal. So, she began, Roman tells an interesting tale about you. I'm sure he does. I slid a folder across the table. But here's a better one. She opened it, her eyes widening as she read. These are real? Every document, every recording, every piece of evidence showing exactly how Roman, my mother, and my sister orchestrated their little scheme. And you just let them? I let them think they were winning. I pulled out my phone, played one of the recordings. Roman's voice filled the room, bragging about how he'd used my money to build his empire, then dump me for Lacey. Layla's fingers twitched toward her recorder. May I? That's why you're here. For the next hour, I gave her everything. The paper trail, the recordings, the photographs, the story of a woman everyone underestimated, turning the tables on those who tried to destroy her. This isn't just revenge, Layla said finally. This is architectural. You built this trap piece by piece. Sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous. She sat back, studying me. You know what the best part is? You never actually did anything illegal. You just let them implicate themselves. Karma needs a little help sometimes. My phone buzzed. A message from the district attorney's office. Roman's attempt to frame me had backfired spectacularly. The evidence I'd provided had sealed his fate. He's pleading guilty, I told Layla. Full confession. What about your mother and sister? Mother's facing charges for financial conspiracy. Lacey? I shrugged. She's learning that actions have consequences. Layla packed up her notes. This story goes to print tomorrow. Any last comments? Just one. Never mistake kindness for weakness. The next morning, the Daily Post's headline read, The Perfect Revenge, How One Woman Outsmarted a Corporate Conspiracy. The story went viral within hours. My phone exploded with messages. OMG, did you see this? Naomi, holy shit, you're trending. Jason, we need to talk. Mother's lawyer, please, I'm sorry. Lacey. I ignored them all, walking into the federal courthouse where Roman's plea hearing was scheduled. He looked small in his orange jumpsuit, nothing like the confident CEO who'd thought he could take everything from me. Ms. Brooks, his lawyer approached nervously. My client would like to speak with you. No need. I sat in the back row. I'm just here to watch. Roman turned, saw me sitting there. His face went through a range of emotions, anger, fear, finally settling on defeat. The judge entered. Roman stood, pleaded guilty to multiple counts of fraud and financial conspiracy. When asked if he had anything to say, he looked back at me one last time. I underestimated her, he said simply. We all did. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I gave them one statement. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone, it's about letting them destroy themselves. Back at my office, Damien waited with a bottle of champagne. To justice, he toasted. To karma, I corrected. My phone buzzed one final time. Layla again. Follow-up story? People are fascinated by you. I texted back. No need. Some victories speak for themselves. Looking out my office window at the city below, I thought about all the quiet, competent women who'd been underestimated, overshadowed, pushed aside. Maybe my story would remind them silence doesn't mean surrender. Sometimes it means you're planning something spectacular. And revenge, when served with precision, tastes better than any wedding cake ever could. The for sale sign in front of my childhood home looked almost apologetic. I parked in the circular driveway one last time, using the key mother's lawyers had provided to let myself in. The grand foyer echoed with emptiness. No more crystal vases, no designer furniture, no carefully curated family photos showing our perfect facade. Just dust and memories and the weight of what remained. My phone buzzed. Naomi. You sure you want to do this alone? Need to. I texted back. Some ghosts you have to face by yourself. I climbed the sweeping staircase, trailing my hand along the banister where Lacey and I used to slide as kids, before competition replaced connection, before mother's manipulation turned sisters into rivals. My old bedroom was at the end of the hall. The walls were still that soft blue I'd chosen at 13, the only time mother had let me make a decision about anything. I thought I'd find you here. I turned. Lacey stood in the doorway, looking smaller without her designer clothes and perfect makeup. She'd taken a job at a department store downtown. I'd heard through Naomi, but hadn't seen for myself until now. How did you get in? I asked. Still have my key. She stepped inside cautiously. I've been coming here, trying to understand everything. And? And I'm sorry. The words tumbled out. I know it's not enough, but I'm sorry. For Roman, for letting mother pit us against each other, for being exactly the person you think I am. I don't think anything about you anymore, Lacey. She flinched. That's fair. I miss my sister. Which sister? I turned to face her fully. The one you betrayed or the one you pretended didn't matter? Both. Neither. She slid down the wall to sit on the floor. I don't even know who I am without mother's voice in my head telling me I'm special, telling me I deserve everything, even if it belonged to someone else. I stayed silent, watching her struggle with truths she'd avoided her whole life. Did you know? She continued. At the store, people are just nice. No agenda, no competition. My manager actually praised me for helping a customer find the perfect dress, not for stealing it from someone else, just for helping. Despite everything, I felt a flicker of something. Not forgiveness, exactly, but understanding. Growth looks good on you, I said finally. She looked up, tears streaking her mascara. Is there, is there any way we could? No, I cut her off gently. Some bridges stay burned, but maybe we can build different ones. My phone buzzed again. Damien this time. Nonprofit paperwork is ready. When you're done with the house, come sign. What nonprofit? Lacey asked, seeing my small smile. Supporting women leaving toxic family situations. I walked to the window, helping them find their voice, their strength. That's that's good. She stood up shakily. Mother would hate it. Mother has time to think about a lot of things now. We stood in silence, watching the sunset paint the empty room in shades of gold. Finally, Lacey spoke again. Roman writes to me sometimes from prison, still blaming everyone else. Some people never learn. I did. She moved toward the door. Too late, but I did. After she left, I pulled out the envelope I'd brought. Inside was a letter I'd written to my younger self, the one who thought being quiet meant being weak. I tucked it into a loose panel in the wall, a time capsule for whoever owned this room next. Downstairs, I took one last look around. The house that had once seemed like a fortress now looked like what it was, just walls and windows, no match for the strength of a woman who'd finally found her power. My phone lit up with a text from Jason. Damien told me about the nonprofit. Need a tech consultant? Always, I replied. Someone needs to teach these women how to protect their assets. Outside, the for sale sign caught the last rays of sunlight. I touched it gently, remembering Mother's words. This house is our legacy. She was wrong. Legacy isn't about buildings or bank accounts or keeping up appearances. It's about the stories we leave behind, the strength we share, the chains we break. I got in my car, took one last look at the house that had shaped so much of my life. Then I drove away, leaving the ghosts of who we'd been to fade with the setting sun. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from an unknown number. Thank you for sharing your story. I left my toxic family today. You showed me how. Sometimes revenge isn't just about settling scores, sometimes it's about showing others they can write their own endings. And mine? It was just beginning.